It's morphin' time. Pterodactyl.
Hi there, this is Datila with 3 years of wrestling, bringing you the Wrestling Time post show. And for tonight, I will be reviewing both AEW Rampage and Friday Night Smackdown. But let's kick things off with AEW Rampage. Alright, so as we learned tonight, CM Punk is unfortunately injured. And I think there was some type of confusion as to whether he relinquished the title or not. And I don't think he did. I think there's just, according to commentary, there's going to be a battle royal to kick off Dynamite to determine the new number one contender, who would then go on to face Jon Moxley and become the interim AEW World Champion. So I think whoever wins that battle royal is going to lose to Jon Moxley. I honestly think that Jon Moxley will probably become the interim AEW champion. Well, it depends. We have to see who wins the battle royal too. But dang, what such sad news. Like, being there live to see CM Punk win his first major championship in 7 years, like, it was such a surreal moment, and it's something I'll definitely never forget. And when he comes back and becomes, I guess, the AEW World Champion again, it's going to just be as epic. But nothing will ever top that feeling of just seeing his first title win. Nothing. And it was such a special, magical moment. I personally was rooting for Hangman Adam Page, but it was still it's something I'll never forget. Never. And I hope I can be there to see when CM Punk becomes champion again. But he was basically saying that every bone in his body was telling him to go home, but his body was telling him to stay. He said he was going to wrestle until the wheels basically came off. And he said the last thing that he wanted was to disappoint us. He said that he's injured and he needs surgery. He said many things are broken, especially his heart. He says he's come back from a lot worse, and he's got a long list of talent that could be champion. But he only proceeds to name Bryan Danielson and Jon Moxley. Doesn't even name any AEW talent, original talent, I should say. He says that he would be relinquishing the title, but that Tony Khan believes in him, and that when he comes back, he'll be faster and stronger. And he says he's going to show why he truly is the best in the world. So this is why I was confused, because he said he wanted to relinquish the title. So I think he's still technically champion, but we still need an interim champion. And I don't know where we go from here. I guess this changes a lot of things. I know he was scheduled for a match at Forbidden Door, but I guess that match is not happening anymore. And it sucks. I feel for Punk. I really do. He's in his first title reign as AEW champion. Not even a week. I think, he lasted, not even a week. He didn't even last a week as champion. And now he has to go away and get surgery. That just sucks. That really sucks. And I wish Punk a speedy recovery. And because it's an interim champion and not, and he didn't have to relinquish the title, it tells me that he's probably not going to be out for too long. I don't know the type of injury he has, but he does say he needs surgery. So it leads me to wonder, like, how severe is his injury that he might not be out for too long. I can't take a guess until I know or have a little bit more details as to the severity of his injury. But very heartfelt promo. You could tell Punk was like in tears. He did not want to go out there and like cut and say those things. I'm sure he's disappointed that this happened so early into his title reign. Michael 101591 says Punk sucks about Punk being injured. Interim AEW World Champion is the way to go. Then Punk vacating it. Yeah, definitely. Are we gonna see? Are we gonna see a situation like when it was Punk versus Cena, champion versus champion? I think so, and I think, like I said, I think it's gonna be Jon Moxley, the interim champion, because I think everybody wants to see Punk versus Moxley for the AEW World Title. And I think that match would be epic. And depending on when Punk comes back, it'll either be at All Out or at Full Gear, I would think. Again, I don't know how badly he's injured or the severity of his injury, so I'm just throwing an educated guess out there, people. But that's not the only news that happened today. Before we get into the review, there's other things we have to talk about. Imagine if MJF is the interim AEW World Champion. That would be phenomenal. But I don't think so. He mentioned Jon Moxley, and I think Jon Moxley winning the title would only add to MJF's case. Think about it. He called Tony Khan a mark. He says he's throwing money at XWD talent. Well, I honestly think that the whole situation with MJF and Tony Khan didn't start off as a work, but I think after that promo, it started off as a work. So I honestly think that it would go into that. It will fit that more. I mean, think about it. You have Jon Moxley, a former an XWD guy, becoming champion again. When you have so much homegrown talent that could become champion like MJF, you're definitely adds fuel to the fire to what MJF said. So I'm very curious to see how that would play out. Very curious. But I cannot wait to see what happens. But MJF being champion, I would like that. But I think now it seems like it's a storyline. So I don't think storyline wise it would fit with what's going on between MJF. All right. So before I get into the review, I also want to say congratulations to Sammy Guevara and Ty Conti. TMZ reporting that they got engaged in Paris. So congrats to them. Okay. So let's get into this review. AEW Rampage was live tonight in Ontario, California, which is close to the Rancho Cucamonga, the hometown of the Young Bucks. And I have to say, it kicked off with, speaking of the Young Bucks, the hometown Young Bucks versus the Lucha Brothers. This was an amazing match. Between their matches, I don't know which match I like better. This one, All Out 2019, Escalera de la Muerte, or the Steel Cage match from last year's All Out. 3 phenomenal matches between both teams. But holy smokes, like, this match was incredible. It's like, obviously the Young Bucks and the Lucha Brothers know each other very, very well, because there was so much back and forth in this match. I really like that opening sequence with Nick Jackson and Rey Fenix, how like they both do the same thing and they kick each other and they both go down at the same time, then they get back up, and that's how you know they know each other pretty damn well. Rey Fenix crashing Nick Jackson into the barricade. Amazing match. It was a 10 out of 10. It was a perfect 10. The match itself was a Ty Dillinger, a perfect 10. Oh, or how about when Penta, he like put Rey Fenix on his shoulders and then it went up to the top rope and he threw him onto Nick Jackson. That was an amazing spot. Oh my god, the spot I really, really liked though the most was when Rey Fenix did the whole Eddie Guerrero thing and then he did the frog splash. That was a beautiful tribute. And then the Young Bucks doing the BTE trigger, but Rey Fenix gets out of it and he gets hit with the Meltzer driver. Young Bucks, Matt Jackson pulling Penta's mask off his face, which allowed the Young Bucks to be victorious. And it was an incredible match. I would have been happy with either team winning this. Ty Dillinger doesn't exist anymore. Is a Sean Spears 10 out of 10. LOL. Yeah, but the gimmick when he was doing the perfect 10, he was Ty Dillinger. Oh my god. So fantastic way to kick off AEW Rampage. I wish I would have been there, but I mean, it was great. It was great. I don't know which match I like better. Steel Cage, Escalera de la Muerte, or this one. Fantastic matches between the Young Bucks and the Lucha Bros. I would not mind seeing another match between them. Incredible. They have such incredible chemistry. Honestly, they do. Then we had Powerhouse Hobbs and Ricky Starks versus Jordan, Costa, and Julius Coleman. This was a squash match. Jericho and commentary was so hilarious during this match because apparently they went to picture-in-picture and you see Ricky Starks and Powerhouse Hobbs cutting a promo. And Jericho was like, that promo lasted longer than the match. That made me laugh so much. Obviously, Hobbs and Starks were victorious in this. But yeah, that was like hilarious. Hilarious. Oh, freaking Jericho. Steel cage match from All Out last year, then this match on Rampage, and then their match from 2019. Really? Oh, okay. That's an interesting order. So after that, we had the debuting Athena versus Kiera Hogan. Poor Kiera Hogan. I mean, she got some offense in, but Athena was certainly dominating her. I mean, she definitely made a statement with this match. I cannot wait until we get Athena versus Jade Cargill. I honestly think Athena, just based on tonight, could be the one to defeat Jade Cargill for that TBS championship. Really, it was very impressive debut on Athena's part. But then again, you know, she was impressive beforehand. But and then after that was the CM Punk segment, which I already talked about at the beginning. Yeah, I feel bad for Punk too. It sucks, man. Like, he basically came on saying that he was injured and that, again, it was some confusion because I know CM Punk said he wanted to give up. He wanted to relinquish the AEW championship, but that Tony Khan believed in him. So I think he's still technically champion, but we're going to have an interim champion. Again, Battle Royal to kick off AEW Dynamite on Wednesday. Winner will face number one contender Jon Moxley to determine the interim general manager, interim AEW World Champion. Athena looked very good in the match tonight. I agree. I think Athena will be the next CBS champion. Yeah, definitely. I do see her taking the title off Jade Cargill. I hope it's not affect. Oh, I know. I think Forbidden Door is sold out. I know tickets went on sale like the first week of May. So I'm pretty sure it's sold out, but we're going to have to see what goes down. Unfortunately, I'm not going to Forbidden Door. That flight to Chicago was what did it for me, man. If it wasn't for that, I probably would be going. But yeah, very sad, heartfelt promo by CM Punk. You see the tears in his eyes. He really did not want to give that news. You're going? That's awesome. Congrats. I hope you have fun. So after that was the main event. It was a TNT title match. It was Scorpio Sky versus Dante Martin. Honestly, this is a good match. I knew it was going to be Dante Martin. Very impressive. But I'm not surprised Scorpio Sky won. I don't think it was too soon for him to lose the title. So let me see. Do you think MJF will win the championship? Okay, so this is just my opinion, okay? You can feel free to disagree with me. You can feel free to agree with me. I think what was happening with Tony Khan and MJF was real. I don't think it was a work at all to begin with. But I think based on that promo or that pipe bomb, I should say, that MJF did on Wednesday, it kind of seems like it's turning into a work now. And I think it would add fuel to the fire if MJF doesn't win the title and Jon Moxley does, proving that adding fuel to the fire of MJF, because then MJF can say that Tony Khan is being a mark for giving the title to an ex-WWE guy instead of homegrown talent. So that's just my opinion. But would I like to see MJF be champion? I definitely would like to see MJF be champion. I think he's definitely earned it. I don't think it's going to happen anytime soon right now. I would be shocked though if it does happen really quickly. You're giving Rampage a 9 out of 10? That pipe bomb was 100% a work. Probably drew comparisons to CM Punk's. So honestly, I really liked tonight's Rampage. I really did. I thought it was better than SmackDown, like always. But I honestly thought tonight's Rampage was a perfect 10. a Ty Dillinger, perfect 10. But before we move on, there's one last there's one last thing that I want to talk about. Give me 1 second, guys. I do apologize for that. And the review here. Oh, no, it's not. It has to do with Thunder Rosa, actually. So let me see. I think it worked because he literally said, remarked to his boss when Warner Brothers and HBO officials were there. Yeah, definitely. I think that was a work now. So Fightful Select reported that Thunder Rosa's absence from AEW Dynamite this week was confirmed that she was sidelined with an illness, so she was off the tapings. And then What Culture reported that this is still according to Fightful Select, that there was frustration on her side of things, which is something that we've also heard ourselves. We're told that completely separate of this situation where she was under the weather, there was no plan for her to appear live on the Los Angeles Dynamite. Instead, she was booked for a backstage segment. Sources we've spoken to have said that they feel like the primary women's title has taken a backseat to 2 other women's title belts on the show. She is also not scheduled for tonight's AEW Rampage in Ontario, California for the same illness. So, and I do understand her frustration. I mean, she has not been booked that good even though she's a primary champion. Let me see. I can see why because Rampage needs 2 hours because people need more TV time. It's too. She is the main champion. She should be featured on TV. She's their primary champion. When Britt was champion, she was featured more on TV. I heard Warner Brothers Discovery doesn't like too much of the language on AEW. What language? Like the cursing? So does that mean it probably spells that? I hope that doesn't mean they're gonna go down in a rating in TV. They're being 14, they're gonna be like PG or something. But yeah, I can understand why Thunder Rosa is frustrated. She has not been booked to be that much of a strong champion. I look at her segments. Nyla Rose, she didn't even get a thank you speech in her hometown. She got interrupted before she could even say anything. So I definitely would understand her frustration. But I'm curious to see what happens with Thunder Rosa going forward after she recovers from this illness. But what do you guys think? What did you guys think of CM Punk's speech? What do you think of the whole Thunder Rosa situation? Let me know in the comments down below. All right, but with that ends this AEW Rampage review. So now we're gonna move on to everyone's favorite show. No record reports is saying HBO official was happy. Really? Okay, I'll definitely gotta look into that. Now we're gonna move on to everyone's favorite show of the evening, Friday Night SmackDown. All right. It sucks it does suck for Thunder Rosa. All right. So tonight's SmackDown kicked off with a New Day segment. Basically them saying that they wanted to give that they were back in the winning picture because of Drew McIntyre. And they asked McIntyre to come out for a special gift. Let me see. Now Ring of Honor getting another pay-per-view. So yeah, ROH getting TV deal or HBO Max deal. Well, actually, I don't. The thing is, like, I know Discovery Plus and HBO are gonna merge into one app. So I don't know what the official name would be. So I don't think it's gonna be HBO Max anymore. It might just be Discovery Max or Discovery HBO. I don't know. But we have to wait. I don't think they're gonna get put on there until after the merger is complete. That's just my opinion, though. I don't know. Rerun down Star Home Show. Okay. With all seriousness, though, I will try to get through this review. So basically, McIntyre calls himself saying he comes himself a Big D, wants to give a shout out to Big E. Brawling Brutes then come out and interrupt this, saying that they weren't prepared, and this leads into the Brawling Brutes versus New Day and Drew McIntyre again. No Discovery No, Warner Brothers and Discovery are the ones merging. Yeah, I know they're merging, but I read somewhere that they think it's pointless to have two different apps because that's more money they have to spend on advertising both apps. So they're considering merging the apps, but that's just, I haven't heard anything concrete about that. That's just me like speculating. I didn't watch SmackDown. Well, this is my review, so hopefully, if you do decide to watch it, you know what happens already, or if you don't decide, well, at least you know what happens. So honestly, I really did not care for this match. I'm so sick and tired of the New Day versus the Brawling Brutes feud. I thought this was supposed to end last week, but I'm assuming I didn't watch last week's SmackDown because, as you guys know, I went to Las Vegas for Double or Nothing. So I'm assuming last week the New Day and Drew McIntyre won, and now the Brawling Brutes won. For the love of God, I thought this feud was over. We need to move on from this. I don't understand why we haven't moved on. I really didn't care for this match. Honestly, I didn't. And I'm not going to talk about it anymore. That's all you need to know. Brawling Brutes won. Nothing special. Nothing about that. Then we get a backstage segment with Riddle and Nakamura. Basically, Riddle saying that tonight isn't about the tag titles. It's about vengeance for Randy Orton. Then we also find out that next week is Max Dupree's first client is in Maximum Male Models. Props to for not watching this. Yeah, definitely. Some of us had to watch it though. So about this whole male model gimmick, I'm really curious to see how it plays out. Like I said, if nobody does Zoolander's Blue Steel, I will certainly be disappointed in this gimmick. Like Michael, I don't know if you still haven't watched Zoolander, but Zoolander is hilarious and it's about male models. So every time I see Max Dupree and his whole male model thing, I'm gonna think about Zoolander. Because, like, seriously, how many of you guys have watched Zoolander or have not watched Zoolander? You guys, they need to do Blue Steel on this, or the gimmick's gonna, like, in my opinion, be a total dud. I don't watch WWE for 9 months. Once CM Punk returns, sorry. Oh, it's okay. You're free to, in my opinion, you're free to watch whatever you want to watch. You want to watch WWE? Go ahead and watch. If you don't want to watch, then don't watch. You want to watch AEW? Go ahead and watch. I'm not going to sit here and tell you shouldn't watch anything. Honestly, you're free to watch whatever you want to watch. I have not yet watched Zoolander or the sequel. I haven't watched the sequel, but I did watch the first one, and I really thought it was funny, so. Then we get Humberto Carrillo versus Jinder Mahal. Apparently, Shanky is now doing a dancing gimmick. Kind of reminds me of the Great Khali when he was doing his whole dancing gimmick too. So apparently, it seems like Jinder Mahal is annoyed with Shanky's dancing gimmick, and he tells him not to dance. So Shanky starts to dance, which Jinder gets kind of distracted by, but he still doesn't lose. So Shanky gets up and distracts the referee, allowing Jinder Mahal to be victorious here. But to me, it kind of seems like they're planting the seeds to split up Jinder Mahal and Humberto Carrillo. I mean, Jinder Mahal and Shanky, sorry. Shanky thinks he's the next star on So You Think You Can Dance, huh? Yeah, so I'm curious to see what would happen to Shanky if they split him from Jinder Mahal. So I will see how far this dancing gimmick takes Shanky. Then we had the 6-pack challenge. It's supposed to be Shotzi versus Raquel Rodriguez versus Aliyah versus Natty versus Shayna Baszler versus Xia Li. Apparently, Aliyah gets locked backstage because Shotzi locked her in there, it seems. So this is a decent match. Wasn't too bad. Surprised they allowed Natty to win. Obviously, she's gonna go on to face Ronda Rousey and lose, if you ask me. But I'm just really surprised they allowed Natty to win this. I guess if reports are true that it was supposed to be Sasha Banks versus Ronda Rousey, then she's taking Sasha's place for a match against Ronda. So then we get Madcap Moss. It's returning Madcap Moss segment. He looks jacked, I have to say. Looks very jacked. Natalya versus Ronda. Get the NyQuil. Oh, wow. Okay. So he obviously doesn't have any suspenders. He said that Happy Corbin is right. The man who we all knew as Madcap Moss is gone. He is buried. He says he has a dream where he's hitting Corbin harder and harder. And then he calls out to Corbin to come out. Corbin says that Moss isn't here to fight. He's here because he misses him. And then Adam Pearce comes out and says that there's going to be a match between Moss and Corbin. And, okay, so then the match takes place. And Madcap Moss gets himself disqualified because he attacks Corbin with the steel chair. And then, he's about to do the same thing that Corbin did to him, but then all the security comes out and pulls him apart. Where was security when this was happening to Madcap Moss? Seriously. Where was security when this was happening? So then, obviously, the match ends in DQ, which Happy Corbin wins. So then we found out that we're going to have Happy Corbin versus Madcap Moss again at Hell in a Cell in a no-hose-barred match. That should be a lot of fun, right? I guess this is WWE finally remembering that, oh crap, we don't have a SmackDown match on Hell in a Cell. Let's just throw one on there. Why are we getting this match at Hell in a Cell, but we're not getting Ricochet versus Gunter for the IC title? The IC title should be on Hell in a Cell. I'm going to get to that right now. Before I go any further with my review, I have to say, I don't know if it's just me. I don't know how you guys, so you guys can feel free to disagree with me and stuff, but I feel like Happy Corbin versus Madcap Moss is kind of like MJF versus Wardlow, but watered down and all over the place. Think about it. Happy Corbin is MJF, the boss, and Madcap Moss is Wardlow, the employee. Happy Corbin turned on Madcap Moss, and Happy Corbin took out Madcap Moss. This is kind of giving me Wardlow MJF vibes. But the only difference is that we actually cared about Wardlow, and Wardlow got over. I don't think a lot of people really cared about Madcap Moss, honestly. I like Madcap Moss. I think he's a fantastic wrestler, but that gimmick of his was not working for him. I hope that the new gimmick, whatever it is that they give him, is a lot better than his previous gimmick. But yeah, like I said, I honestly do think this reminds me of that, but much watered down and not as good as MJF and Wardlow. I hope this is it for Moss and Corbin at Hell in a Cell. I don't care about this feud. And yeah, definitely. I really don't care about this feud. If you ask me, Madcap Moss needs to win this, honestly. We need to move on from this. And yeah, they need to stay away from each other too. So I really, really do not care, unfortunately. But that's not my fault though. You guys made me not care about this stuff like this. All right. So then in the main event, we get the Usos versus Nakamura and Riddle for the Undisputed Tag Team Championships. So, it wasn't a bad match. It wasn't. But it's just, we've seen this. It's like, how much longer are the Usos going to keep feuding with Riddle and Nakamura? Like, seriously, how much longer? We have the Street Profits. You have the Viking Raiders. You have Los Lotarios. Why not just throw a makeshift tag team together? Like, how you can put Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn back together. You had Seth Rollins and Kevin Owens. And do we not have any more tag teams? And speaking of Hell in a Cell, I don't even count this as a go-home show for Hell in a Cell because none of these matches are going to be at Hell in a Cell. Roman Reigns is not defending his title. The tag team titles are not getting defended. The Intercontinental title is not getting defended at Hell in a Cell. It's going to get defended next week on SmackDown. It's going to be Ricochet versus Gunter, which is probably going to be a good match. But why isn't that happening at Hell in a Cell? When was the last time the IC title got defended on a pay-per-view? When? I honestly don't understand what their whole booking situation here. I really don't. It's the only two matches I care about at Hell in a Cell are Cody Rhodes versus Seth Rollins Street in the Triple Threat Women's match. I mean, hell, Ronda Rousey isn't even defending her SmackDown Women's title at Hell in a Cell. So it's this pay-per-view is supposed to be a gimmick, yet we only have one Hell in a Cell match, and it's going to be Cody versus Seth, and there's no hose bars match. So I really I don't know. This whole thing is a bunch of baloney. It really is. But to continue with the review. Sorry for ranting there, people. It's just I needed to get that off my chest. All right. So at one point, Nakamura went knee first into the steel steps. It looked like he messed up his knee. Then I think it was Jimmy that attacked his leg. So he had to be carried out of this match. So then it became essentially a 2-on-1 handicap match. Riddle versus Jimmy and Jay. I'd seen Jay mocking Randy Orton. And it seemed like Riddle was actually going to overcome the odds and win this match. But then Roman's music starts playing. And we cut to the back and we find out Sami Zayn played Roman's music, which I have to say was pretty hilarious. I actually like Sami Zayn. I like his role in this. He's actually really good at his role. So props. Sami Zayn deserves that new contract he signed. So obviously the music playing distracts Riddle and it allows the Usos to be victorious. Not a surprise there. Not a shocker, honestly. And as they're leaving, Sami Zayn comes out and he starts celebrating with the Usos. And then Riddle attacks him and then the Usos attack them. So it seems like we might get Riddle versus Sami Zayn next week. And that's pretty much how SmackDown ends. If you ask me in terms of quality, I only really liked... Actually, I didn't... I actually really didn't like anything on this week's SmackDown. Normally, I found one thing I like, but I did not one thing. Yeah, unfortunately. So, and this wasn't a go-home show. It wasn't. Like I said, they totally forgot they had no Hell in the SmackDown matches at Hell in the Cell and randomly threw that in there. But if you ask me what the better show was, hands down Rampage. That's not me being biased. That's just me being honest. If you think SmackDown was better than Rampage, hey, you're entitled to think that. If you think neither show was great, you're entitled to think that. You're entitled to think whatever it is that you want. I personally think Rampage was a lot better than SmackDown. Again, that's not me being biased. And if by some miracle SmackDown is better than Rampage, I will say SmackDown's better than Rampage. Or I will say SmackDown is just as equal to Rampage. But this episode was not good. Rampage was a better show. And this show was almost made me fall to sleep. Very lazy, vomit, inducing bad. We all know Rampage is the best show on Friday, yeah? And if I had to give this week's SmackDown a score, I'd give it a 0 out of 10 just because it didn't do it for me. Honestly, we've seen a lot of these matches before. I'm tired of seeing the same matches over again. And honestly, it was just a terrible show all around. Last minute match. I don't know. But with that being said, thank you guys so much for watching and for your continuous support. I had a long week. I went to Double or Nothing. I went to FanFest. I went to the first ever Dynamite here. It was just such a great week, and I have videos of those events on my YouTube channel, so make sure you check that out. And please don't forget to like and subscribe. Make sure you hit that bell so you get notified whenever I go live or release a new video. And I will see you guys on Sunday for Hell in a Cell. Have a great night. Enjoy your weekend. Bye.